Um, Hello all. So, uh, while we were taking a class today, we came across async functions, how to create them, and what do they actually do. So, to brief it, uh, an async function is used to execute a set of codes or instructions which are independent of another set of codes or instructions. Okay. So now, as a demo, what we worked on was we created a function named as get data, and it had a parameter ID, and then inside of it we wrote our async code. So we use set timeout and give a delay of 3 seconds to execute this instruction. Okay, I mean this function, so which basically prints the data fetched for that particular id that uh, we have sent. So now, if you look at the way we are calling the function, so it is sequential. So first I'm calling get data of 1, and then I'm calling get data of 2. So now what happens when get data of 1 is called? So before that, usually we think that since this is async, uh, get data of 1 will execute after 3 seconds of delay, after 3 seconds of delay, and then get data of 2, that function will execute after another 3 seconds of delay. So within or just a little over 6 seconds, this program will execute. But actually the program takes a little over 3 seconds in order to execute. The reason is because these two functions gets executed instantaneously at the same time. Okay, I mean after 3 seconds of delay, of course. So why is that happening? I mean, let me show you first and foremost thing. Yes, so as you can see, 1, 2, 3. So after 3 seconds, data fetched for id 1 and then data fetched for id 2. These two came at the same time, but this was not what I was hoping for. So what we actually wanted, uh, we are simulating how an API works. So whenever you see set timeout, so this is the time, let us say, an API takes to get the data from the database. Okay, so from the backend. So that 3 second is the delay that is uh, caused by this API. Okay, so whenever let us say we are looking for two data right now. So what is the usual technique? So you will first look for get data 1. I mean, uh, the data with id 1, so which usually takes 3 seconds, and then after completing that you will look for uh, get data 2. I mean, the data with id 2, that will take 3 seconds. So within 6 seconds the code should be executed, but that is not the case. So as you can see over here clearly, so these two call for the function happen instantaneously. So I hope you understand what is the problem that we are trying to solve over here. So now, how to solve it? We actually looked at, let me just comment this out. Yes, so we actually looked at callbacks. So what we will be doing is make use of callbacks in order to induce or add in that time delay between the function calls. Okay, so if you can clearly uh, listen to this carefully, you will understand this. Okay, so first things first, I'm creating a function. The function is named as get data. It has two parameters, id and get next data. So this gets next data is a parameter for a function. So a parameter is a name or a space reserved for a for anything that you would put in while calling the function. So for here, it is the parameter is a function. So this makes it a callback, correct? Passing a function which is get next data inside another function which is get data, right? So let us see what it has. So inside of it we have written a async uh, set of instructions. So what it does, set timeout for 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds of delay, so whatever is written inside of this will get executed. So what we have written a console.log, I mean a print statement, uh, printing the string data along with the id passed, and then we are checking if this function is given in the function call. So what does it mean? We will come back to the later. So now let us look at the function call. So in the function call, what I've done, I've called this function which is get data, and I'm passing two parameters. So the first parameter is my id which is 1, and my second parameter is a function, as I said before, which actually makes it a callback. So in the function, I'm returning a function that is pointing to that is pointing to get data of 2. So sorry, so get data of 2 is a function, I mean get data of 2, this is actually a function call. I'll only this, if you think about it, right? So hence the reason we create an arrow function and then point the arrow function to this function call. So overall, this complete thing becomes a function basically. So we are passing in this function as a parameter to this function, so which is get data. So we are passing in get data of 2, I mean the function, to the get data function. So what happens then? So let's come here. So the first line is set timeout. Okay, so it now knows that the compiler knows that it is async. So it will come here console.log. So first it will print. So this is happening at let us say 0 to 2 seconds, 0 to 2 seconds. So listen to this very carefully, if you are 0 to 2 seconds. So what are executing? So this function is getting executed get data. So in that the id is equals to 1, and the second function is an arrow function which is basically the get data function itself but with a different id. So get data 2 is my second function. So that is also being passed as a parameter. So now we know that uh, what happens now in the first run, console.log data id. So data, what is the id that we have now? 1. So this will get printed, and then it will check whether get next data is there. So what is our guess next data? It is nothing but get data of 2. Okay, so it is nothing but get data of 2. So we will see that whether get next data is there. Yes, it is there. So then we will call this function, I mean get next data of 2. Get next data, we will call that function. That function is nothing but this, I mean that function is nothing but this, but this has an id of 2. Okay, so this is printed, and then this is scheduled. I'll tell what does that mean. So 0 2, now comes 3 2, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, so that makes it 2 seconds, and then 2 to 3. So you can remember it like this: 2 to 3 and then 3 to 4. So that creates 4, I mean another 2 seconds. So now I need to execute get data whose id is 2. So get data function will see again get data. Now the id is 2. Now the id is 2. Sorry. Now we will see whether there is get next data in this get data of 2. Actually there isn't. So what will be my guess get next data? It will be none. So nothing is there because we are not passing it. If you carefully observe, we are passing only the id and not another function inside of this function, which is a parameter for this function. So if you think about it, this should have made sense, right? So id equals to 2, get next data is none. So what will be executed? So console.log, so this is common. So data 2 will get executed, and then it will see, uh, I mean here call, in the first run it is call get data, call get data for id equals to 2. That is for the first run. So here also data 2, this will get printed, but since it does not have another function given over here, let us say, so now if it add something like this, if it adds something like this, then our next get next data would have been get data but id 3. But since we do not have that, so now it is a none. Yes, so it is a none. So if it is none, then this would return false. So this will never get execute. So after this there are no code. So till here it will get executed. Then if there are any other lines outside of this, then those will get executed. Okay, so if we run this code, then we should see data 1 executed after a delay of 2 seconds, a call for get data function with id 2 at the same time or right after data 1 is printed. Next, so before it finishes the time would have been 2, right? So this get data, so this will get executed at the time 2. So 2 to 4, why 4? Because that gives us 2 seconds, which is this. So at that time the id is equals to 2, id is equals to 2, and there is no parameter, hence only the console.log works. And then if this becomes false, so this will be our data. So after 2 seconds of delay, these two will get be done. After another 2 seconds of delay, so this will get executed after another delay. So the total time that the program took would be a bit more than 4 seconds. So let us see whether it is working or not. So let me refresh it. So data 1, 1, 2, data 2, I mean it was so quick. So let us change it to 3 seconds so that we'll understand what is happening. So 3 seconds. So I'm coming back. So Microsoft Edge. So I'll refresh. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So if you observe, the difference between these two are that this represents a real world scenario of where there is delay between fetching two different datas, right? So data 1 was fetched by the API. Let us consider an example. So it took 3 seconds to do that. So then to search for data 2, it will take the same time, is what we are seeing. So that is what we are trying to simulate. So whenever you learn APIs, you are basically coding like this. So APIs are a bit advanced concepts for now, but we will teach it in the later classes. But for now, understanding what we are solving and how we are solving it is important. So my kind request would be that if you do not understand uh, this properly, then I want you to go through the video again. I'm sure whatever has to be covered has been covered in the most simplest and straightforward way. So if you want to revise it 100 times in order to understand